Hello, hello. Welcome back. My name is Art, the PI Elder Navigator. We have a special guest today. We have our social media coordinator, Mr. Dawson. You want to introduce
That's
yourself, bro?
me. You're talking
That's
about
you.
me.
I'm talking about you. Welcome to our table talk.
Hi. It's been a while. I know I've been on at least one before, right?
You've been on one before. We're taking a little bit different turn this time. We wanted to bring you in so people don't forget about you. They remember
That's that what it is.
who's behind the scenes of everything.
The part of George Pojas will be played by David S. Dawson.
Yep, you gotta if you're gonna you gotta talk like him. But
So I need to talk a little bit like I just need to talk like this, and I got to talk really loud.
so sticking with our topic this month, which is elder senior safety. Our last one we had Jason and George on, talking a little bit of scams of stuff that's happening in the homes. Um, Today we wanted to continue that conversation. As the weather begins to heat up, and I don't know, people get more savvy and they seem to come out more. I mean, they're preying on a lot of our community during the whole year, but we are more have a how could I say leaning towards helping or looking at different avenues to build awareness and help the community out there. So this time are we going to do a wheel
Well, I mean,
spin?
we could do a wheel.
Okay.
I have that kind of magical power.
Yes.
Voila! There's a
So
wheel just for you, Art.
just for wheel. So let's start with spinning the wheel, and we'll choose a topic, and we'll cover it. How's that?
I think that sounds like a great idea. Here we go. Pay close attention to where it ends. We'll see what happens. See what we're going to talk about today.
It's going to be
And
safety related.
your elderly neighbor is sitting on their front porch in a severe heat wave. They tell you they can't stay inside because the AC unit isn't working. They were quoted a sizable sum for replacement by a technician that they just can't afford. What does
Oh,
that sound
man.
like to you, Art?
There's a lot of things that go into it. Is the elder living alone? Is a contractor, which is unfortunate. Are they trying to take advantage of the situation? I know last table talk we talked about contractor scams, which is called where you call in a contractor to come in for a simple procedure or a simple tune-up or a simple fix, and they overquote or overprice, over want to charge to fix it. It is unfortunate. But first, let's start off. If somebody needs help, right? Whether it's during the hot weather, during the summer, there's a bunch of cool zones all over the county, all over the state, where people can just look up, just go sit there. A bunch of libraries where they can go get out of the heat. Um, so
Some of the
that's the
malls that are still
Son
around.
of the malls, yes. We also got to be vigilant about staying hydrated. Sometimes we forget to drink water, but hydration is big. So yeah, let's look around, find a cool zone to stay cool. Um, Another avenue is to go to the Better Business Bureau, right? Contact them, submit the name of the contractor, open up a case. It wouldn't hurt. Have them look into it. Is the charges that's legitimately that they want to charge, are they real? Do I just do I need a whole AC replaced versus just a tune up or a filter?
Yeah. I mean, would you go to the Better Business Bureau to start with, or would you bring in a different contractor to give you another quote first?
Well, you always, we always talk about this. You always want to get three quotes, right? But regardless, if you get the three quotes, what if
If
that
somebody's
person,
wildly off from the other two,
yeah,
they should be reported for potentially
well,
scamming people,
yes,
right?
regardless, yes. If I mean, let's say you get the other two contractors and it's just like, hey, simple fix, yeah. regardless, report them, file a case. If you can't do it, you could call them, right? Because a lot of times it's all through the computer, but you could call them, open up a case, get the information started, get the case started to help them or to stop them from taking advantage of other people.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that it happens, but it does. It does happen.
It does
And
happen. It
not just
happens.
elders. On this case, the contractor scam, like that happens to a lot of people.
It
Um,
happens to a lot of people. Also, like the mechanics. You know, how
yeah,
many times have you gone in for a simple oil change and they want to sell you a transmission,
right.
right? A lot of the times they pray or they hope that you don't know what you're talking about, or you don't know what you're if you don't know anything about what's going on with your house or your vehicle, they're gonna pray and try to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Just a general rule of thumb, always be aware if it feels like somebody's taking advantage of you, follow that feeling and get another opinion, bring in somebody who can back you up and support you in figuring out whether or not it is.
Also, another how can I say tool or always is never give them money up front.
Mm,
Never pay them, never leave them a deposit. Or like if they want it, a lot of the time they prey on like this needs to be fixed now, right? That's how they convince them, oh, that this is
yeah. Oh, you
severe
don't
or
want to drive off because you're
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
cause
You
more
need to fix it
harm.
now. You need to fix it up. Include another family member. You know, maybe call a nephew, and a cousin, a brother, somebody that can help you. You know, sometimes I like that tool or that theory that you talk about, Dave. Do you remember? You want to talk a little bit about it? If you need to take a step back.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, I tell my friends who feel like they're being scammed or feel like they're being pressured into something. Like if you feel fearful because of something somebody's telling you, if whatever they're telling you makes you instantly feel nervous or anxious, step back and don't respond from that place of anxiety, because that is like the key way that a scammer wants you to respond. They want you to respond from a place of fear, from a place of anxiousness, because
Yeah.
you're not thinking clearly. So when you start to feel that, the best thing you can do is take a step back. Whoever you're talking to, say, you know what, I need a moment. Let me go over here. I just need to process this a little bit, or I need to call somebody and get some advice. And if that person pressures you not to take that moment, that's also a very good sign that they're probably not looking out for your best interest either. So, somebody who's not trying to scam you is going to be okay with you taking a moment to think it through. They're going to be okay with you calling somebody. But if they're immediately like, no, you don't need to call anybody, just take care of this, like
Yeah, yeah.
I'm here, I'm telling you what needs to be done. Like if they're making the hard sell and trying to increase that anxiety in you, that's a big warning sign and something you should really pay attention to.
I also wanted to give a little example. We all have to get our cars smogged, right?
Mhm.
And my dad was a mechanic, so I grew up working on cars my whole life. So I took my car in to get smogged. And the place I took it to a new place, the guy goes to me, think your timing belt is gonna be due. We can squeeze you in today if you wanna do it today. And I was like, really? I kind of humored it because it upset me, but I knew what was going on. And I'm a man. You think you could really do it? He goes, oh yeah, we could fit you in. Well, I had known that my car doesn't have a timing belt. My car has a timing chain,
Right.
right? So I go to him. My vehicle, I know has a timing chain, not a belt, right? If he was praying that I didn't know what was going on, he would have sold me a timing belt that my car didn't need, charged me $500-600 to change it, and not do nothing to the car,
Right.
right? So that's how they pray or they get a lot of people. Um, a lot of it is also. I wanted to talk a little bit about the how can I say the donations part. a lot of us, I don't know what it is, but as we get older, or the technology that we're going to now is we're doing a lot more phone orders or mail orders.
Mhm.
Um, I had a recent person reach out to me because they're donating. They donate to charity, right? And she was telling me that they're really pressuring me that they need the money now. So I went back to my buddy, what my buddy Dave talks about, take a step back. If you're donating money to a charity, why do they need it now? It should be when you could donate,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
How many of these charities are really legit,
Yeah.
right?
It sucks because you want to think the best of people and of organizations that purport to be doing good. But yeah, again, anytime you're getting that hard sell,
Yeah.
like it should raise some warning flags just a little bit, you know. And there's a lot of those political emails and stuff going around right now, like we need to raise $20,000 by midnight tonight to defeat so and so in Tennessee, you know,
Yeah.
contribute
Yeah.
now or you know, we're gonna fail. And it's like campaigns are run on long periods of time. Like it's really not that drastic that you contribute immediately.
To
It's
the
not gonna,
donation,
like they
right?
can't buy the ads to go out today by midnight regardless. Like that whole pressure situation is bizarre.
Well, that's the whole pressure. Also, a lot of them prey on not using their legitimate, how could I say, form of payment. So
Hmm.
they use a lot of them now. They're using gift cards.
Yeah.
So if they tell you go to Walmart and buy $500 worth of gift cards, that's a red flag,
Yeah.
right?
Because it's
Or
untraceable.
yeah, it's
It,
untraceable.
it's a new way to launder money,
It's a new
basically.
way. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Let's do another wheel, Dave. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, yeah, let's do it.
Let's pick another
Here
one.
we go. Ooh, spinny, spinny. I'm worried that someone I know may be experiencing abuse or neglect. What should I do, Art?
Oh man.
What should I do?
So anytime you're worried, you get that gut feeling, call Adult Protective Services. If you fear that they're in immediate danger, call 911. It's always better to be safe and wrong, or than something happen. So call 911 in San Diego County. We have ADP, Adult Protective Services, which is 1-800-339-4661. Just file a report. Make a number. It's always better to be safe. They'll probably be upset, but it's all right. Get them the help. Like I said, if you notice immediate danger, or you right now, you call 911, get them the help. Um, a lot of us, unfortunately, a lot of our elders, or even youngsters, they have that fear of protecting the abuser, or who's abusing them, or who's hurting them, out of fear of retaliation, or they're going to hurt me more, or whatever that they're threatening with, is whether threatening their care, um, neglect. It's a form of abuse as well. Call 911 or call Adult Protective Services. Um, Another scam that's happening in our community is the elder, the grandpa scam. Have you heard of it, Dave?
Um, that's one of the phone scams, right?
That's one of the phone scams. I know we talked a little bit about it. The way it works is they prey on our more isolated, or not even isolated. My mom got one, and she almost fell into it. Where they call and they say they don't ask grandma by the name. They go, "Grandma, it's me," right?
Yeah,
And
it's really preying on just kind of the susceptibility of somebody to assume, right? So they call and say, "Hey, grandma, it's me," and grandma
mhm.
goes, Bobby, Billy, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Joe. Hey, I'm in trouble. Can you help me out? I need you to wire me $500 to take care of a car repair. I
Yeah.
can't get a hold of anybody else in the family, so I need you to help me. Can you help me out? Oh yeah, of course. I'd be happy to help you out.
Yeah.
It's entirely just about how casual we are with people we're familiar with that they're preying on. So by immediately saying, "Hey, grandma,"
Mm-hmm.
that kind of casual comfort of like, "Oh, I heard grandma. It must be one of my grandchildren."
Yeah.
And then they just kind of go through the names until the scammer picks one and plays that part.
And a lot of it comes with threat. Don't tell my mom. Don't tell nobody because they'll get mad. And
Mhm.
sometimes the grandparents to being good with their grandkids will follow the request.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
is
'cause as a
unfortunate.
grandparent, you wanna be on the side of your grandchild, right? Like,
You do want to be on the side, but going back to what we talk about, take a step back. Verify. Hey, is Billy really in trouble? Or call Billy. Right? Hang up. It might be from a number. Now they're getting savvy where they can change the number they're calling you from. Right?
yeah. Yeah, they can spoof a number.
They can spoof the number, make it seem like it's being sent from Dave to Art when it's really Dave's probably 2,000 miles away somewhere else.
Yeah. What we did with my mom, because my mom was pretty susceptible to those sorts of
Uh huh.
things. And so what I did with my mom um, was we came up with a standard question that we would ask the other that only we would know the answer
Uh
to.
huh.
And that was a way of verifying that you were talking to me or I was talking to her. And then we could proceed knowing that we were talking to the right person. Um,
Yeah.
but we figured out something that only we would know, that's not in public domain information about us, that nobody could find on our Facebook page
Yeah.
or whatever. And we were able to ask that question of one another, and the response would tell us if we were talking to the right person or not. So there's little things like that that you can do to protect yourself with your inner circle, with your close family, people who someone might try to pose as, right? Like,
That's a good tool, a good tip. Coming up with first of all, talking to your grandparents or your parents and coming up with a tool or a safe word, like you said, something that they would only know,
yeah,
right? That nobody else would know. I don't know, like name of your first dog or your first vehicle. I don't know, something that only you guys would know or you guys could come up with. That way you could verify that it was Dave Dawson trying to get new tires for his hot rod over here, right?
yeah,
Uh,
right. I'm looking at electric motorcycles right now. That's what I'm looking
electric hot rods for your electric motorcycle. Let's do another wheel, Dave.
at. Okay, another one coming up. Let's see here. And spinny spin.
Then spin.
Mm, I'm worried that someone I know may be experiencing abuse or neglect. What should I do?
Man. Okay. So this one could go back to the same one. You always want to talk to them. Are you noticing what are signs and symptoms that somebody's being abused?
Um, I think they start behaving differently. That would be one
Okay.
to look out
Hmm.
for. They are maybe not as clean as you're used to them being. Maybe it
Okay.
looks like they haven't been, showering regularly or taking care of themselves. Their grooming, if their self grooming changes, that could be a warning sign. If they become more reclusive, that could definitely be a sign. If they're kind of stepping back from routine and things that
Yeah.
you're used to seeing them doing. I remember when I lived in Texas, the nice old lady who lived next to me, um, She always came out to get her mail every morning at like 11 a.m. Every morning, 11 a.m. You saw her come out and get her mail. Saw her come out and get her mail. And I do remember there was one time where my roommates and I realized we hadn't seen her in a couple days. She hadn't come out to get her mail. So we went and knocked on her door, and we actually heard her moaning on the other side of the door when we knocked. So we called 911, and she had fallen and
Wow.
hadn't been able to get back up. She just couldn't get back up. I don't know if she broke her hip or whatever, but she'd been laying there for like 2 days.
Wow.
So the paramedics took her away, and I know she ended up in a home or something afterwards, because they alerted her family that she was having difficulty taking care of herself. So
Yeah.
but yeah, just
Wow.
pay attention to routine. You see
Pay
somebody stop
attention to
doing their
routine.
routine, that's often an indication that something's wrong.
Some other tips are like, does the caretaker not leave that person alone at times when you want to talk? Do they seem skinnier, the malnutrition, unusual bruises? Like, a lot of times we get bruises in our arms, or do they have bruises up on the upper thigh, on the lower legs? Are they, like I say, losing weight?
Hmm.
Do they seem well clean? It's that could go both ways. Some people just, how could I say, don't like to be clean, especially if they're more independent. They can take care of themselves. That's up to them. But trying to encourage
But
them.
I think a change in that quality is a good indication. Like if somebody's typically if someone's typically going to put their face on, as my grandmother used to say, I got to put my face
Yeah,
on before I can go out in public. If suddenly they're not doing that routine anymore,
yeah,
like they're just they're not no longer combing their hair, their grooming just changes, like that
yeah.
oftentimes is an indication something's up.
Also, keeping an eye on what's being purchased. Are they having a lot of Amazon packages being delivered to the house? Like, they're buying surfboards, they're buying products that they wouldn't use. Skateboards, car batteries, stuff that they don't even drive. They haven't been to the beach and for a while. Those are things that you could keep an eye on, even as a neighbor or a family member.
Hmm.
And just help them out.
Yep.
You know,
Should we
we
spin
just
again?
spin again. One more. Let's do one more.
All right, here we go. Hopefully it doesn't land on something we already got.
It's all right. We could do another spin if it does.
When you visit your mom in the hospital, she is often very thirsty and unclean. You spoke with the staff a few times, but they seem to be ignoring you. They always appear to be very busy.
Oh man. Okay. So
That
this is probably in a hospital or a skilled nursing facility. This one sucks. I'll be honest with you because it's horrible, and it's a tough process. But there is, first of all, if you can, I would have you. I would encourage you to move them out of that facility to another facility. Um, I'll get you the number. There's a number of licensing for the skilled nursing facility that you can report them, and that facility for the state of California will go in and do an investigation and follow up. But it's a hard process. A lot of these facilities do cover themselves up.
right.
Um, it is. It's unfortunate, but the simple. It's also, if they feel unclean, do an adult protective services report. Have them also involved. Have as many people as you can involved. You know, but the main thing is I would remove them, put them in another facility if you can, because a lot of these facilities should not be. Their priority is their patients, their clients. Um, and the reason I say this is because I had to do a report on this on my mom, on my own mom. It was a tough process, and I caught the facility lying, and when they went in to investigate, they didn't find no wrongdoing. So it's tough. It's a tough procedure, but um, the simple, or not the simple, but I would encourage you to, which I should have done, which I did, is I filed a adult protective services report, and they'll come in and also investigate.
Yeah, that's a tough situation.
It's always tough. How could I say? What are other tips that you feel are important to help somebody in need?
I think communication
Okay.
is key. Like, if you have an elder in your family, make sure that you're talking to them regularly.
Uh-huh.
I think oftentimes there's a bit of that out of sight, out of mind
Yeah.
situation that settles in, and it's like, oh, I talk to grandma once or twice a year, 5-6 times a year, maybe. Try and
Mhm.
talk to them more regularly than that, because the less they talk to you, the less you communicate with them, the more likely it is that somebody's going to be able to exploit that
Right. Yeah.
relationship, especially on the grandparent scam, right? Like, if they're not
The
used to
grandparent.
talking to you a lot, then anybody could technically sound like you on the phone.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
familiarity is really important, and also, if you're not communicating with an elder on a regular basis, then you're missing out on establishing a baseline for what their normal behavior is, right? And then
Mhm.
it's harder to
Yes.
recognize when they are being abused or neglected.
So some of the tips that I like to give is like, you covered up, those are all phenomenal. Get involved, talk to them, call them. Um, I also encourage family members to get involved with their finances.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is, look at their checking account.
yeah,
Have monthly. I mean, include them. Is there any outrageous charges or withdrawals that were done?
yep,
It's easier to catch something a month than finding out 3 years that somebody's been withdrawing $500 or $100, right? Get involved. Um, Also, with these summer heats, the summer weather that's coming up, I know, what's our topic for next month? Positive,
positive
positive,
adventures, right? Yeah,
right? So, stay cool, drink a lot of water, right? Make sure their houses are cool. Sometimes we don't realize that we're dehydrated until we're already dehydrated.
right.
So having that cool water, the cool towel, open up the house early, cool the house down, and then you know shut it down when it gets really hot. If they can use the AC, use the AC. Um,
Well, and elders have a tendency to have a harder time regulating their own body temperature too. So
yeah,
that's why oftentimes you'll see them wearing sweaters in warm weather, because they're still cold, and
yes,
vice versa. Sometimes you see them dressing down in colder weather because they're feeling warm. So you just got to pay attention. Again, communication and regular contact with them helps you recognize what's normal for them and what isn't.
yeah. Talking to them, asking them. Sometimes simple confusion can be a little bit of an infection to more severe, right?
Hmm.
But you wouldn't know. Talking to them, get involved, help them out. Um, I like the routine. Follow the routine. No, I mean, it's a lot to ask to know the routine, but if you know a little bit like your neighbor, if you guys wouldn't have got involved,
Yeah,
who
she
knows?
probably would have died. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You know,
it's I try to go under uh, kind of a mandate for myself in life to be observant,
yeah.
and even if I only have a little bit of regular contact with somebody, I try to recognize kind of what's it like when I talk to them. Do they have a kind of regular way that they are? And if I encounter them with a little bit of a deviation from what I expect, how they're doing,
Yeah.
just check in a little bit and see how they're doing. Sometimes just asking the question of somebody is a huge relief to them because they want to talk to you, but they're ashamed to bring it up, or they're fearful that you'll judge them. But if you open
Yeah.
that door for them, you give them the window to reach out. So
Just as simple. How's your day going? Can go a long way, right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So what are some resources we can apply? We have the clinic 760-749-1410. Option 4 for behavioral health, adult protective services, 1-833-401-80832. You can always call any one of us, even Dave. You can call him. He loves phone calls at midnight. Just putting it out there. No, but you could always call any one of us, anybody on the PI team. We have George, Jason, Marissa, Dave, anybody here. We can always help you, direct you in the right way, get you resources, get us involved. The San Diego Access and Crisis Line, 1-888-724-7240. Dave, any closing before we wind down?
No, just that I think it's important that we are open with each other, that we communicate with one another, and that we care, right?
Yeah, we get involved and care. These scams are horrible. How could I say? Horrible avenue, or horrible. How could I say it, towards any community? But I'm more. How could I say? I have a soft heart for our elders, right? And I don't want them to anybody to be taken advantage, especially if they worked hard and their whole life and have their whole livelihood taken by somebody because they get scammed.
Yeah. It's terrible for anybody to get taken advantage of, and it's I think even worse if they're taken advantage of and nobody notices.
Yeah.
So
And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of, and I always say this, the shame of being violated goes underreported.
yeah.
So a lot of them don't get reported. So a lot of them don't get the help, or the people taking advantage of them don't get reported.
Yeah. So be aware, you're not alone. Almost everybody is going to experience a scam or being taken advantage of at some point in time. So don't feel ashamed. Like we all will experience it, and we're all going to fall prey to it at some point in time.
Yeah. You're not alone.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dave.
Great joining you today.
Thank you for
a little
joining.
Unexpected. Hopefully I filled in the shoes well enough.
Oh yeah, you did good. Thank you everybody for tuning in.
All right.
We'll see you next time. Positive Adventures.
Table Talks in July. Peace out.
Peace.